Yeah, so we just start. So the I think the component you wanted to work on was checkbox.
Checkbox.
Let's see where it is. Oh, it's at the top.
Can you see my screen, or do I need to share it explicitly?
Yeah, you need to share.
Okay.
There we go.
Oh, it's so cool. You can do this.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I wrote like a very small guide in the docs, which kind of goes on like how do you create a component. So if you open in
Okay.
your browser, if you open reactui.dev,
What's the command to start? Do I need to get to the DS tools and then do a yarn start or
uh,
something?
no, so uh, okay, so there are two parts of it. One is if you go to packages React UI, then you can
Yeah.
start yarn dev. That gets like the dev server running, and then another terminal if you open the docs. So you go to packages slash documentation or packages slash docs.
Wait, is that? Oh.
Yep,
And then
and I guess you can just do yarn start. Yeah, so the way I like to do it, and which is why the setup is slightly weird, is that I just use the documentation side as a what do you call it, as a dev environment.
like a playground. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, just like I don't do a storybook or anything. I just use the docs.
Starting that server. Cool.
Yeah, everything's gonna be a little slow because we're also sharing.
That's fine.
So if you go to core concepts at the top, there would be something on the left side called there's one called creating new components. There you go. So that's kind of like the this was me when I was trying to document it for myself.
Okay.
And,
Understood.
and let's see if it still holds up.
Cool. Okay. So we use the base element, and then
Yeah,
create
I
the
can
spout.
keep it open for myself and I can guide you along the way.
Sure. Yeah. We'll do that.
Cool. So yeah, so you always start with a base component, which you can import from primitives, which is perfect. And then, so
Yep.
the way it works is like when you export the first thing, it looks like element. Wait, can we pair code in this thing?
Let me check the settings.
Send all keystrokes. Yeah, it seems like I can send keystrokes as well. Let's see. Oh, yeah, the cursor changes. Yeah, that's me.
Yep.
Wow. Oh, but it is so amazingly slow. But I just wanted to like say this thing, which is like so this is kind of how you use the element. Right. That's
Yeah, I
all
kind
I'm
of saw
gonna
this
say.
element component. You just basically, I mean, it's like I wasn't getting into too much details. It's like you basically use forward ref on that, so that anyone that consumes this has a ref to the component, right? I know a bunch of other stuff that you do to it.
Yeah. So forward ref is one like that's kind of one chunk of it. The main like the cool thing about it is that this is the thing that connects it to the theme and the tokens. Right. So when you use the CSS prop, this is the thing that like all of the interpolation hides behind this component. Right. So if you say I want an element, then you can say as, which makes it an input. And I guess if you're making the checkbox, then it should be type checkbox. I don't know how the checkbox works. Input type checkbox.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's what it is.
that's the one. Okay. Perfect. And then if you just pass the rest of the props, then you already get like a checkbox running, which is connected to the theme.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
Oh yeah, this is a way better idea. We can copy another component.
Yeah,
Perfect.
I
So
was
you
just
see
seeing
that,
the structure you follow.
yeah. So like the as is the HTML primitive that gets used. There's a component name here, which is I
Yeah.
don't know what to call it. So I just call it component. And
Is
this
this the display
key,
name?
yes. So
Okay.
actually no, this is the display name in the React UI theme. And I think the DevTools also picks it up, but I'm not sure. But essentially,
Okay.
because this isn't in a Babel plugin, this is in runtime.
Hmm.
I don't think if you export it, that's the same display name.
Ah, okay. Okay. Fair enough.
And then you see like we merge two style objects. So we do this thing where you can attach some default styles and then
And then you can pass it.
merge that with whatever the CSS the end user wants to pass as well.
Okay. Makes sense. Does the element take care of accessibility, or do we have to do that?
No, we have to
I
do
would
that.
assume not. Okay. Yeah. Cool. So then, if I do right, and then you destructured CSS here, and then it props.
Mm-hmm.
Then what did you use CSS? Yeah. Then merge from filters. Okay. I need to create the checkbox.styles.js.
What default styles should a checkbox have?
I was just trying to read up about um I think we have to consider the fact that people might put in a label. Does that fall into
Um, so how I treat it is that that's part of a form, and there's a form
okay.
field which takes care of the label.
Okay. Hmm. Yeah, this is one thing I was a little stumped on. Like I
Mm.
mean, the style's obviously right, but like, what are we making assumptions when we do this?
Which part?
When we do the
This,
styles?
yeah. So yeah, the avatar is a bad example. We shouldn't assume that it's going to be round. What's a
Yeah.
better one? I think if you go to input, that probably has
Input.
slightly better defaults. Yeah, so we do like box sizing, line height. We do width 100%, and we always attach
Yeah.
a border, and then you can change the border color. Right. So
Okay,
this,
and this is default, and then you can override them by passing it your own stuff.
yeah. So a good way of thinking about it, like the browser comes with its own defaults.
Yep.
We override the browser defaults to give you a base, and
Hmm.
then you can style it on the base. So like most of these, if you look at them, are slightly more functional than aesthetic.
Yes. Yes. Yep. Yep.
So
Okay.
that's kind of the strategy with default styles.
This one, checkbox. Box sizing, border box, line height.
I guess
I
disabled
think
is the. Sorry, go on.
is a good assumption to make. We can just, you want me to take the whole thing?
I'm trying to think of like which one of these is useful for a checkbox, and the only one I guess is disabled.
Yeah.
Maybe the border as well,
We
but
don't,
we can add it if we think so.
but just, okay. I mean, I don't know. We'll just try it out, I guess. Figure it. Luck.
Hmm. Yeah.
Cool. And then import styles from avatar.style. Okay.
Perfect. So now we have a checkbox. I think you also need type equals checkbox.
Yes. Type.
Perfect. Now,
Okay. So we don't make an assumption of this. We'll just let this be static type checkbox, right? No, we don't need to consider if it will be like a radio or something else.
maybe. I'm wondering if that should be the same component or if that should be a different component.
Yeah,
Like radio and checkbox are two. I don't know. I guess let's go with two.
Props.
We don't have any. We don't have any custom props here. So I guess nothing.
None at all? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. So now starts the annoying part of like making it appear in the docs. So the first step is you go to component/index or source/index, I guess. There's an index file somewhere. There we go.
Yeah. Where's the avatar? You can't do it here.
Cool. So now it's part of the library, and now you go to docs, and this is the annoyingly hard part. So docs source pages/components, and you can copy one of these, like duplicate any of these.
Oh, I see what this is. Okay. And all these are called documentation. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess you can like just change the title so that we know the page exists, and then we'll customize it. There we go. Perfect. So now, no, that's not all. That's the annoying part. I wish if that was all. So now you go to maybe it's in component/index. Is there one? Yeah, there it is. Yeah, this one. This is fine. We don't need this yet. What we need is, I mean, eventually, can you scroll down to the end? Do we export anything from here? No, just one. Okay. So then if you go to pages/index, there is a place where just export random things. Yeah, I guess it's that index. There we go. Yeah.
Okay.
Perfect. So now maybe it appears in the left sidebar, or maybe there's one more step we can try it out. It's reloading. Nice. Yeah, you don't see it yet. Okay, so now go to docs/app.js. Yeah, that's the one I think. In this, just search for button. Maybe there would be a hard-coded list somewhere. No, not this one. Not this one either. There we go.
That's the one. This one, I think.
Yeah. So this is an artifact of like creating everything by scratch and then not automating anything. There we go.
Okay. This one showed up.
Yeah. So now we have a page and then we can customize it.
Yep. Right. This one's good. This one's good. This one's gonna need this. Gonna need this. Is this one?
No, I think it's this is the one.
This one's. And you need to import it from.
Yeah, now I can import it from the package. Nice.
Is this working because of Yarn workspaces? The way you import it?
Yeah.
Okay. breadcrumb. Okay, so basically we don't need this stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to let that be here and see what this does.
Yeah, so I think you change the example a little below the scroll. Yeah, if you go back to the docs page and scroll. Yeah, it's this one.
This.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think there's another example at the top of the file as well. Yeah, this one comes from.
This one?
Yeah, I think that's the first example in the code. If you scroll up, yeah,
this one.
Yeah, it's this one. Yeah,
this one. I'm just putting in blank stuff in here. You would also need like a label. No, okay, well, the label works with the form.
Right.
Okay. And then the example would
be
just...
The label works with the form, yeah. Even the checkboxes are interesting on how they deal with labels.
I wanted to always do this because I never understood the accessibility stuff. Like,
yeah. So I think if you go to form, it would be useful to like see how that works.
If I go to
like if you scroll down and find the documentation for form.
Okay. Yeah, this one.
Yeah, so this one has a label, and if you see there's like a form field and there's the input, right?
Okay.
So now the form field is essentially responsible for adding the label, adding the ID, adding the for. All of that is done inside the field, so that you don't have to do it in every component. But what's interesting
you can just...
What's interesting in checkbox is that usually you have the label on the right of the field, right? Like you have the checkbox and then on the right is it's not the same as the other inputs. So that's going to be, that's interesting on where we should bake it.
I see.
I'm going to open Cosmos Docs to check out what I did earlier in life.
Bad accessibility. So ideally we'd have to, I'm assuming the form field is what, is that what the thing is? That would have to incorporate and check what the child is, right? Based on the as or the type.
Sorry, say that again.
So if we wanted it like the not the edge case, the use case you mentioned here, that the text will be, the label is on the right. Usually, so that's something we'd have to change in the form field component, right?
Yeah, I'm wondering if, because that API sounds a little weird to me, where you don't mention it with the checkbox. Like it does sound like it's different than text input and text area. So can I switch screens? Can I share my screen?
Yes.
Oh, cool. Do you already see my screen?
Yep.
Oh, amazing. Okay, so this is from like, I don't know, 1.5 years ago where I built the last checkbox. And over here we settled for an API which looked like this, where we had like the name, which is the form name, I guess. This is the inner value of the input. And then we just took the child, like the children was the text. And because then you have multiple checkboxes with the same label on top. So it's almost like you have a form field label, which can be different than a checkbox label value. But I wonder what we did with forms itself. So this is another one, which is like, this is a radio. So this is the label, but these are the checkboxes with their text labels. It's like we have two levels of labels.
Okay, understood.
Guess that makes more sense here. Right. Okay. How do Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we basically, okay. So we need to take care of it if they pass in multiple things also.
So what I'm thinking is like you
Okay.
can have a form field with multiple checkboxes.
Yeah.
But then the checkbox itself is one of the items in the field.
Yes. Okay.
Right.
That makes sense.
Okay, how do we go back to your
So do
screen?
we need to accept I can...
Oop. Wait, I think I lost you there. Oh no. This is why we should edit. Let's see where is TP. TP network, oh, that's a bunch of services. Huh. There we go. Tuple not responding. Let's go. First quit. I'm gonna call Tarang again. Da, da, da. Whoop. Pair is unavailable. No. Oh, there we go. Hello.
Oh, yep. For that.
Yeah, sorry, my tuple crashed.
Seem to be sharing the screen.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, now I see your screen. Perfect.
Perfect. So the one thing we didn't do here is like we didn't accept a value
Yeah.
compared to the...
Yep.
So do we make that assumption that we have to pass in a value, like a default value, and then obviously there can be a default of false.
There can be a default of false. Yeah, that makes sense. It's like if we accept it. So the fun thing is like, yeah, that's exactly it. Like as long as it's in the default props, I guess it's fine because you don't even have to include it here. But like, I'm curious, what practice do you follow? Because you're already spreading props.
Yeah.
Right, okay. Like you're already doing this. So do you still pass them along?
No, I think this was fine because you defaulted, so it'll obviously pass through it here.
Okay, because like I've seen different people do different things, like where they explicitly call it out as well.
And then just one more line of code. It's just that's not a big decision. This is fine. We anyways pass it down here.
Cool. So we have
cool. So
and now we need like some.
What else would we need?
We need some text.
Yeah. So if I were to, do we make that text explicit, or do we is it a required field?
Yeah. So it's what would appear next to the checkbox. So it's almost like the checkbox label.
So then I'll do checkbox.
I guess we can call it a label.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just, we don't have to finalize the name now. I'm just trying to get it rendering first.
Right.
Is required, and then I will do label to be empty string because we're requiring as a default.
Sure. Oh, this is another one of those. Do you do empty string or do you show the error there, like required field, or please add a label?
Basically, so are you saying that we do something like you deconstruct it here, and then if there's no label, you throw an error.
So I've also seen people do it in default props itself, where if they don't add a label, then they put a label which is, instead of empty string, they put like, this is a compulsory field. Like label is required. Like it's a nice way of cheating, basically.
I thought you meant explicitly throw an error. Okay.
We could also do that. Like that also sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, let's try that actually. I think I think that's better. So I'll just do label empty string, and then I will pick it up from here. And basically, if not label, throw new error, and then label is label. Wow, must be provided.
Okay, if it's like a console error, wouldn't React do it for us anyways? Like if we say it's a required field and then we don't define a default prop, React would throw the exact error for us. So which kind of means that we can skip the default prop and then you get the same result.
Kind of like a API decision at this point, I feel.
Sure, yeah. I'm all in favor of like
let's go with this.
Letting React do it.
Okay, more in favor of.
Yeah. So for example, if you don't define anything in default props, then React would automatically throw this error for you.
Yeah, so then, okay, yeah, perfect. We don't need to do this then.
Right, yeah.
Yep.
Cool. So now we need to figure out how do we render this label. Because the checkbox wouldn't do it for us, I think.
I'm just trying to see. Okay, I don't think we need to get to the element component. It's too primitive for this.
Yeah, I guess we need to like combine two elements. We'll like inside.
Yeah, I think we need to wrap the what do you call? Does this element have to get wrapped in a div? Because that's what most people do, right?
Yeah. It's either a div or a span.
Okay. Let's just try with the div and then we can move it over if you want. This is the part which is completely new to me, the accessibility part, and then okay, so then we need to form.field. No, we just can't. This is inside a div. So basically, we're trying to figure out how to render it, right?
Yeah. Now we just need we just render the label somewhere, like after the input, I guess.
Okay.
What you said is very interesting, though. Like we could reuse the form label API, but I guess we'll figure it out.
Yeah, it's what I was thinking. Yeah. Okay, let's just see if this works. Checkbox.js and then label. Checkbox.
Yeah, that's good.
Cool. Okay.
Cool. Now how do we make it pretty? Yeah. So the first thing I'd do is like if we have a text, then I would wrap it in the text component, so that it uses like the default theme.
Okay. Wrap it in the text component. Okay. Okay. Cool. So where's the text component? Okay. Cool. So I'm just gonna do import. Is it named import?
Yep. So, and I think the folder is also called text. So you can just go back text. Yep.
Okay, cool. And then this just becomes text.
Perfect. So is it reloading? Oh wow, that's slow. Yeah. So now if you switch to the other theme from the header,
okay,
it would automatically do the thing. Nice.
Okay, perfect.
right? And now let's talk about like the space between the checkbox and the text and the alignment.
So this whole thing is in this div. Great.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I think this div, since it's always going to be inline, we can do an inline flex.
Yeah. So
Right? That would be one way to go about it.
Yeah. So we have a stack component, which is like a flex hiding inside. So if you go to the documentation.
Yeah. This one will go stack. And then you will do align center, gap 2.
Oh, cool. This is exactly what we want. So align center is just so that it's like horizontally, vertically aligned.
Yeah. So basically import stack from and then basically this gets replaced.
Yeah.
And align.
Nice. And now we put a gap. The gap's interesting.
Yeah. I'm just looking through the props. So the gap is enums on the space, units on the space level. Oh, this goes back to the design token, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. Do we have is that
so it must be in React UI's theme, source themes, I guess.
Themes.
Yeah, open any of them. This is the space.
And then space corresponds to these numbers. Okay, nice.
Yeah.
Okay. And then,
so like what I always do, like start with like gap 1.
Is this IntelliSense working on prop types, basically?
No, there is no IntelliSense yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gap 2, suggest to 2. Nice. Okay.
Yeah, looks good to me. Cool. Now, so there are two things that we should figure out now. One is how and if we should make the checkbox prettier. And the other is when you click the text, it should work as a label.
Should.
Right.
Yeah. Right, because space works, but it should toggle this also.
Yeah. So if you open like form, we can look at the form field implementation. That will give us ideas.
Form field, okay.
There we go. Yeah, so that's something we do, which
basically works on the ID thing, right?
Yeah. So we create an ID and then we attach it ourselves. Unless like the user also has an ID, then we use that one.
So you attach it to the okay. Cool.
What's interesting is that we can't use it directly because this thing has opinions on like how it should be structured in a font. But we could copy the implementation details.
Yeah. So I'm just going to assume that we get an ID, right, from the user?
We can, although the ID is more like it's optional.
Okay. So okay. But we need to check it if they are passing it in, right?
Right, yeah. So the form uses, I think it uses the generate ID from reach UI. Like if you scroll to the top. Reach has this utility, which is if you pass it an ID, then it will use it. Otherwise, it will generate a new one.
Oh, so it takes care of that for us.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay. So I have an input ID.
Nice. So, and this text now should be labeled.
Like this. Yes.
So we say text. Oh, but you still need the theming. So you can say text as label.
As label, okay, yeah.
So then it renders a label, but
I see. You renders a label, and then
yeah.
HTML4 would be input ID.
Perfect.
And then the input ID still has to be passed into the element to know the relationship
Right.
between these two, right?
Yep.
So HTML. No, this is just ID.
Yeah.
Input ID.
Nice.
Okay, cool. Let's give this a shot. I don't know if it reloaded. Nice. Okay.
Perfect.
And then I'm assuming the console will throw an error, if we, like in this particular case, if we don't have a label.
Oh yeah, I guess so. Oh no, I'm guessing like the input can exist without a label if it's not in a form. I don't know. I'm not sure. But there are a bunch of other errors, anyways, which is like not your fault. Got it.
Cool. Okay. And then do we want to have opinions on how this is styled apart from the text?
Yeah, so that's what I'm wondering. Like the text is cool because it uses the text component. So it kind of like just looks like the other text in your form fields. But what's interesting is the actual checkbox. I'm wondering if the base theme should not style it, I guess. But the light and dark theme is like is controlled by us, so we can choose to make it look however we want.
Yeah.
So then probably that becomes part of the theme itself. And then the border we added is also probably not needed. Like we added some default styles, which I'm guessing now are like we probably don't need anything to it.
Yeah, we added them. We don't probably need them. We can just move them to the light theme.
Yeah.
Or any of the themes. Yeah, okay. So.
Yeah, so the themes are divided into two parts. There are the tokens and then the components.
Yeah, so I'm going to put it below the button.
Perfect.
And then we had border 1 pixel solid. Just going to keep that in here.
Nice.
Pretty much remove this, right?
Yeah, I just make it empty for now, just so that we can come back if needed.
I'm just going to keep it, whatever.
Okay.
And then in the dark,
yeah. Now let's think about like what do we actually want inside of it? How do you want it to look like?
I'm just going to compare what like other libraries do for a minute.
Sure.
Just to see like do they put like borders and stuff on it? Like okay, so they don't put any. Okay. Like semantic UI does some stuff like they. If you see like the tick is different.
Yeah.
Okay, so they do some stuff.
Yeah, they customize the tick. Plus they have a border.
Should we leave it since this is like a primitive, or do we?
So this is the interesting part, that the base theme is supposed to be the unopinionated one, right? Where you can do whatever, but the light and dark is like we decide what to do. So I go for like matching it with the other input elements, like whatever styles the other input have.
Let me see. Please enter your name, and then if I do it light.
Yeah. So the default is light. This is dark. Right. So it'd be cool if the checkbox looks like this. Yeah. There's a background to it. There's a border. I think there are hover styles and stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Okay. So right now, all that does is so we put a border on the checkbox itself, right?
I don't even know if that, like, how much styling access do you get in the browser? What does semantic UI do? Do they use the checkbox or do they create a div?
Let me check. So.
Oh, they do style the input.
Okay. Okay.
Nice. Okay, that's good then.
The input, cursor pointer. Oh, simple things like cursor pointer and all that stuff. And then they do absolute, and what else do they render around it? Okay,
They
so they
do
do
an
the class.
absolute interesting. Oh, wait, that doesn't. What's in the
Nothing.
parent class of this? The div.
So there's position, relative, list label, and line block,
Mhm.
vertical, font style.
Where does the color come from?
Mm, yeah, interesting. Where is that coming from? Background.
Oh, I think if you check it, then you'll have more things
Interesting.
to look at.
How does that? I can't figure it. I think so they put a class called checkbox on it.
Okay.
Checked. I don't know what the checked does. Like it, I'm seeing it apply to the HTML root element, but not.
Huh. Okay.
Like how would, if I wanted to put a background on this, like would it actually work? No. Uh,
Oh, good. Okay. I have something to show you, which is going to be very interesting. So, go back to semantic UI
yeah.
and find that input
Yeah, I have it.
and delete it. Ta-da! It's a fake
What?
input. Yeah, it's a fake input. Like that's the actual semantic
Oh, that.
input, and all of the styles are actually on before and after tags of the div. Because I'm guessing the browser doesn't let you style the checkbox. So this just became a giant project of its own.
Yeah, dude. This one
Yeah.
just became a thing by itself.
Yeah, yeah. So we don't have to do it
Oh
now.
yeah, I remember.
That's fine.
Okay, I remember this thing was, yeah. This has to do with accessibility, but
Yeah.
I think this. Okay.
We do
Yeah,
something
this works.
similar with
It
the
just.
select, where we totally cheat the browser.
Okay. Okay.
And so the select component has a SVG as a drop down. And that's a trick that I
Okay.
learned from like one of my coworkers, Danny. Because you can't actually style a select, we render a
You hide it
custom.
and you.
Yeah, so we hide the actual drop down icon and then we render an SVG with a padding ourselves.
Okay.
So
Okay. That makes sense.
it's like the world is crazy,
So
you can do whatever.
I think I'm going to remove these styles because I put this basic stuff in the base JS.
Okay.
So it doesn't really make sense. Save it and I'll remove it from the import.
Yeah, and then you don't have to merge. Which
Yeah,
means
I
you can
can remove
remove this
CSS
entire line.
tools. Actually, yeah, it's just goes away. Yep, good stuff. Reduce them. Okay, cool. Input that checkbox, component checkbox. Yeah, okay. Apart from the styling, I think this is decent.
Yeah, I like it. It's like the base already works.
Yeah.
So now it's in.
I need to actually read about it. Read about how the whole accessibility thing works. I've been told like there's a way to hide the div and get it so that
Yeah.
spacebar doesn't scroll the page. Yeah.
Not if you're on focus of the element, I guess.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it would.
Do you want me to push this stuff?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Cool. I'm just gonna get rid of the examples which are not relevant.
Sure.
Props, platform.
I have a feeling like you just need one example because there's not much you can do with the checkbox either way.
Yeah, there's not much. I'm just going to remove this section. Where's the example? Did I delete something I'm not supposed to?
No, you just have to delete it till the section, I guess.
Section. Yep.
Nice.
Okay, so the props will also have to change. Props will be, what do we accept? We accept a label.
Yeah, this is another one of those annoying things I've done, where I don't automatically read from prop types. I write them because
How do
I
you
want
normally read from prop types?
So if you use something like React docgen, which is a library that basically you feed it the file, and it will read the file, identify that there is a component dot prop types, and then return a JSON from it. Then you don't have to like duplicate this work.
I see. So you just get it from there and you go from there. Okay. This is good. Oh, nice. Yeah, cool. I pushed it forward. Yeah.
I noticed that you have like a lot of customizations in your CLI, like a lot of aliases and shorthands.
Yeah.
Which is very cool.
I use ZSH and then I found this plugin called Pure.
Mm-hmm.
And why can't I push?
Because you don't have push access to the master of the original repo. So you'll have to change the remote to your fork. Right. So they have a fork.
And do it.
Yeah.
Not yet. I'll do it.
This is pretty cool. Every time I pair with someone, I see like someone needs like already knows how to use Git very properly.
Yeah.
Except me, like focus on the top right.
Now I need to add another remote, right? Git add.
Yes. Like what I always end up doing is like going to .git and modifying the config because I don't know the CLI commands. Yeah, there we go. Git remote add, I guess.
Git remote add.
Add origin.
Add. Just gonna do this.
Oh wait, you didn't say origin. You said Tarang fork. What does that do?
I think it does this.
So you can keep both sources there?
Yeah, so you can I can technically push to my repo. Yeah. So this is basically origin is just like the default that comes when you get it in, I think.
Okay.
And yeah, and then when I push it, like it comes only when I do the git push in the template, like the placeholder, it pushes to that particular server itself.
Oh, sweet. Well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I didn't know about this until like I had to start forking and stuff. I actually learned that from semantic UI because that's the way
Mm-hmm.
that's the workflow they use.
Got it. Okay, cool. That's just for the productive session. I
Yeah,
can now,
definitely.
yeah, I'm gonna dig into like how do people style their checkboxes.
Style the checkboxes and stuff. Yeah, I found this, I'll send you this article on DM.
Perfect.
It's like the how to do the accessibility stuff for it, right?
Nice. Cool.
Cool. This is productive though. I'll probably take a shot at some of the other ones also.
Sure, yeah. Cool. So I'm gonna stop streaming now. And
Cool.
yeah, good stuff.